That's it. Jared? Okay, I'd like to call a meeting to order. This is the Wednesday, October 23rd, 2019 meeting of the Lowell Conservation Commission. We have a lengthy but not too lengthy agenda here today. Do we have a motion to?
Yeah, so I'm going to make a motion to take one of the things out of order, the enforcement order on 18th Street, because we have a little guy that needs to get home to bed.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Okay, motion made and seconded to take the enforcement order for 172 18th Street out of order as the first agenda item. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Okay, this has been lingering.
That was not the plan. It was not. Good evening. We talked earlier today, Ms. Varnum, and I think we stand pretty much eye to eye on what we want to do with the yard.
Okay, this has been lingering for a while on our agenda, and since you live on the edge of the city,
Yes, ma'am.
we kept saying, oh, we didn't get out there yet.
Yes, ma'am.
But, you know, you have been waiting for some direction from us,
Absolutely.
is what I got out of our conversation today. The enforcement order came about because of movement of parts of a rock wall into a wetland area, which we can't allow. And so what we came up with in walking the site again today, nothing has been moved since the enforcement order has been issued, but it looked to me, and certainly anybody else here is welcome to ask questions or go out there. It looked to me like what needed to be moved back was the rocks that had been placed beyond the wetland boundary. So there were approximately 8 stones, I believe, that were in that area, and they can easily be brought back. It's a very robust rock wall with probably 3 or 4 stones high originally, which the homeowners spread out. I don't see a problem with having an entrance through the rock wall.
Thank you.
I wasn't thinking that they needed to replace the rocks to close off that entrance. They're interested in actually caring for the wetland a little
Absolutely.
bit, keeping it looking good and available for, passive recreation and walking through there. I believe there is a fence planned along 1 or 2 property lines,
Yes, ma'am.
and I explained that the homeowner should come back in with us with plans for anything within the 50-foot buffer zone, which is delineated with granite markers. There are 2 that what look like railroad ties, but they could be something even bigger. They could be beams, wooden beams
they're
that
beams now.
a previous person put in the actual stream bed as a bridge. And
I want those out just as much as you.
Vera has agreed to pull those out.
Absolutely.
So, was there anything else that you were concerned about or wanted to ask?
My only concerns, from what we've already stated and moving forward, is the grade of the ground in front of the rocks because of the machinery that I was using to move the rocks the first time. And we talked about the ruts and stuff. So maybe about 3 inches worth of topsoil to go across that, or as we said at my house, grading it so it all just evens out. The other part of that is the old stumps. We talked about that as well. I don't want to do anything invasive. I'd rather just flush them to the ground. I'd rather just flush them to the ground and let the earth take them back the way they were.
The stumps have been there for a couple of years. There's no possibility of them sprouting. So I don't see any problem with stump grinding them down to grade.
Yes, ma'am. And the last thing I have is in that area, there's a large rock underneath one of the trees that's rutted into itself. That rock, I just want to make sure, because it's in the 50-foot boundary, that we're good, that I can break that down and get it out of the system, out of my way. you know how there's, I can show you a picture of the rock, the tree that was grown
Okay,
over the
what
rock.
is it you want to do with that?
I just want to take the rock out of that area, just that rock.
Oh,
Same as well.
well, you know, we don't want them in the wetland and...
No.
and-
I don't want them anywhere near, I want them all, I honestly myself, I'm going to be breaking down those rocks and getting them off the property.
Yeah.
I don't want to have any sharp edges or something that he could fall into, something like that. It's not 16 and a half years waiting for him, so everything's to keep him safe.
Are there any concerns from the commission? No. So I think what, you know, if we're clear on what needs to be done, that I told Mr. Rivera that when he has accomplished that, he should call back into the office and someone will go out and inspect the work.
Absolutely.
And see if it's what we were expecting.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I would love for that to happen, just so we could keep everything tied up and then period, done.
Okay?
But could we move forward with at least putting a permanent fence prior to that buffer zone, the stone mason
The yard
markers?
marker.
Okay, the wetland is off of your property, so I'm presuming the fence is not going to be in any way in the wetland or even adjacent to the wetland boundary. So,
Yeah, so basically, if we could just move forward immediately with just
Because
putting
we have
the
contractors
fence-
standing by for the
Yeah,
fence.
just having the fence put in vertically on parallel.
On our left
either
side as you look at the house.
For be prior to the mason bricks,
Yeah.
yeah.
well, I don't see any problem with the fence. The area is already lawn, it's cleared. It's
Yes,
not
ma'am.
like it's a forest and you have to take down trees to
Not
do
at
the
all.
fence, so.
Lots of prep, lots of prep.
So could we move
Yes, we're
forward
good.
with that to the mason or go further?
No,
like,
just to
the
the,
rocks?
see, that's what she said. So we're gonna go forward from the street edge to the yard marker.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna bring in plans from the yard marker to the back towards the wetlands, previous to the blue ties.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna go anywhere near the wetlands, I'm just going to the very end of my, the yard.
Where you had seen the rock wall that went horizontal?
Yeah.
That's where we wanna end off
That's where
at.
we want it to
Okay.
stop at, and that's way before the markers.
Okay, I don't see any problem with that. It's
Awesome.
outside the 50-foot buffer zone
Yes,
anyway,
ma'am.
so.
All right, thank you very much. That's
Okay.
all my concerns.
Yeah, thanks for coming in, and just let us know when you finish your work.
Yes, ma'am, thank you very much. Have a great night.
And, well, meanwhile, I think the enforcement order is gonna stay in effect until the
Completion.
work is complete.
I have no problem with that, I'm ready to
And
get
then what
work
we'll do
started.
is after you do the work, the city verifies that it's been done, and then what we'll do at the next meeting, when that's done, is rescind the enforcement order and it goes away.
Check. No worries. Thank you very much.
All right,
Thank
thanks for
you.
coming in. Okay, I think we'll resume our order of business here as it was originally published. And the first new business is a request for determination of applicability by Riverbank Properties, 908 Lawrence Street. The project location is 908 and 966 Lawrence Street. And this is a proposal to construct a 3,339 square foot second-story addition to the existing building without expanding the building footprint. The building is within the 100-foot riverfront and bank of the Concord River and the 100-foot buffer zone of the Wamasik Canal. Nice location out there.
It's beautiful.
Riverview,
Beautiful. It is very nice.
yeah. So I did take a peek at that site today, and why don't you tell us what you are planning to do?
Yeah, so our plan is to put a second floor on the left side of the building, not the right side, which is 908 Lawrence Street. We're not demoing any walls or anything. The only demo that's gonna happen is pretty much just taking the roof off to obviously the deck to go onto it, and then construct from there. So there's nothing that we're kind of knocking down any big walls or excavating or anything like that. It's just physically going right above the exact footprint, just going up 15 feet or so for the new addition.
Okay, are you going to need to get vehicles or equipment to the back side of your building to do that?
We're not. We don't need nothing on the back side at all. It's going to be all there on the front side. So there's nothing going to be back there or around. It's going to be on that left side of, there's two parking lots, the left side parking lot, next to the condominiums on that side. So there'll be nothing, you can't even get back there anyways, on the riverside, because it's actually a fence. There's a fence there that protects, obviously, that blocks the parking lot from the river, you know.
Okay, so this is new construction, so there's not going to be a lot of demolition materials, is that correct?
Nope.
You have to take a roof
You
off?
have to take
or
the
any-
rubber roof off, yes. So we'll pull that back, and then we'll actually just start framing on top of that.
Okay, so what are your plans for the debris from that roof?
So what we normally do on a situation like this, we actually have the weight barrier, and then we have a silt fence on the right side. We couldn't do it there. Then normally with them, we have a project manager, somebody on site just watching, because there's not much in there anyways. You're peeling away from the river, so it's rubber. It's a rubber roll that you're peeling back. So you're not really, again, it's not a bunch of debris, I guess. It's not like a lot of chunks that are gonna go off. So that's our plan, to make sure that, nothing obviously goes in the river,
Okay,
in-
and there's
into the
nothing
water.
that's going to go airborne and fly around?
Not necessarily, it's rubber, so it's not necessarily, I mean, you have the rubber and then you have the iso board, and that comes out just in sheets, right? That's how it works. So it's not like a shingle roof that you're gonna throw
Right.
chunks, yeah, it's rolls of rubber.
What is the distance from the building to the canal?
Depending on where we're at there, you have about 10 feet or so, 9, 10 feet, to the bottom of it. So you have enough room, like I said, to set up our barriers and make sure that nothing, that we're going back, right? We're not gonna be peeling that way, obviously, and it's all on our, on everything on the paperwork, with everybody's gonna work, it's stating that this is how we're gonna do it, right? Because you don't want to, and like I told him, nothing's gonna really go in there, but you never know. Wind can come around, right? There's things that can happen, right? So we are set up for that, to make sure that we don't get nothing inside the water, so.
Okay, and what about, is there brickwork or something going on there, repointing?
There's
or-
repointing not on the back side, it's more in the front, and
Okay.
on the right 966 side, you'll see there's some stuff going, shifting there, so nothing on that back end, that's shifting. Believe it or not, the 908 side is beautiful. It's the newer side that's moving. It's funny how it works, right? The new construction is not as good as the old stuff, so the old stuff's beautiful. That side, nothing is shifting at all on that side.
Okay,
there's
so
no
you'll have a dumpster there, and you'll be putting everything in the...
Yeah. We'll have a dumpster, we'll have, obviously, a container there, just, anything that we think is gonna be solvents or anything gonna be in there, no matter what, in storage, but there's not gonna be much anyways. I
So
mean,
there's not going to be any piles of loose dirt or anything?
exactly. The only thing we can use that solve it, maybe to reapply the rubber roof, the new one, but that's gonna be done right away, and it's gonna be put away. It's not like it's gonna be out somewhere, that if it rains, it's gonna go in the river or something, so. Or in the drain, for that matter.
Okay, so the construction sounds like you have a plan for that. What about, I saw that there was some landscaping proposed?
It will be, at the end, obviously, we're gonna do the whole thing over. He wants this thing to be like his little Taj Mahal, right? You see the plans, all the beautiful tiles, and he wants to really change it, right? And it's good. I mean, the inspectors even love it. They're like, oh my God, it's gonna change the whole scenery, right? He prides himself on that. So it's gonna be, they'll do the landscaping at the end. Obviously, we'll do a couple of things. He's gonna change the fence. I think DPW, the state, changed some of the fence next to the river, so he's gonna continue that with a whole new, brand new fence. It's a mess. It's been hit a bunch of times in the past and stuff, so it's gonna be all
Okay.
brand new. Nothing crazy though, nothing ordinary, but it'll be nice.
Okay, well, you do have some former landscaping, brush and things like that down the slope towards the river. That'll be taken out of there, I'm presuming.
Yes. So right now, he's just maintaining it landscaping-wise, but all that will be all nice and, clean and everything, right? So
And what about tree removal?
tree removal, we don't have, the only ones I think he's going after are the dead ones that we spoke about, getting that, which we're gonna have to apply for, some, to apply to remove them. Not right now. At the time, we will deal with, obviously, applying or something, or letting you guys know that we're gonna remove some of them. But they're gonna be all dead trees, and only some branches overhanging on the building that we're gonna take care of at some point. A lot of leaves, and the gutters are getting clogged up, and this is the issue that's been happening for years, that it's been leaking forever because of that, because it clogs up the gutters, it leaks in the building. So I think we're gonna take care of just the limbs overhanging against the building. That's it, but nothing crazy.
Yeah, I think we'd be interested to know if you do have like a major landscaping plan, that we'd need to know what trees were coming out because of the slope
Yep.
there.
No, I agree.
Many of those trees are holding that slope together
Yep.
with their roots.
Yeah.
So we'd want to know which ones you'd like to remove. Obviously, not all of them at the same time, hopefully. And
So we're
then
looking at
if
more the
you-
dead ones, the dead trees, all the dead ones.
If you had some replanting planned, be interested to know what that might be as well.
Perfect.
Bill?
So just, with the new roof construction, is the pitch of the slope of the roof gonna change at all? In other
It's
words,
the same pitch, it's still pitching back into where it was before, same pitch, into the building, so.
all right, so no additional sheet flow from the roof of the building?
No,
You know, in
it's gonna be
rainstorms
it's
towards
gonna
the
be the
river?
same exact that it's now, how it was constructed, 100 years ago,
Okay,
how they did it.
and nothing further, thank you.
Yeah, no, sounds like you guys are bettering the site overall, and I'm all for a Taj Mahal, so. Yeah,
I'm
thank
telling you, you see it. You're gonna see it, it's gonna be nice.
Do you know the age of the existing roof?
The what? I'm sorry?
The age of the existing roof that you're removing?
They went over it once already. I mean, that roof was stripped one time. It's almost like a 2x6 ton groove, the actual sheathing, so it's very stiff. And they've stripped it already, so it has 2 layers of rubber on it now.
Okay.
So at one point, it's probably stone or whatever back in the day.
Calcium.
Yeah, exactly, back in the day. So now it's actually rubber on rubber. That's how they did it,
It's been tested?
as far as the roof.
Asbestos?
So we were out there, yes, he had everything going out, so they tested everything. There's not much in there anyways. It was a machine shop, so there was nothing, a couple offices, a couple bathrooms, yeah. So there wasn't much in there. So, and they updated that thing, I think about 30 years ago when they did the other edition, or 40, 50 years ago. They went through the whole place. So it's all brand new, even on the old side, all the plumbing is new and everything. So they did a pretty nice job there. Yeah.
And any insulation?
There's only insulation on the old side that they added like a 12-foot addition, and it's all regular fiberglass. There's nothing, it's new, it's fiberglass. It's R21, I think.
Okay,
At the time when they put it in, or R30 or something like that.
then I'm good.
So-
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, and there was a listing of a storage container here. Where's that going?
Yeah, so it's gonna go on that side, the construction side. On the left side, it's gonna be just in the parking lot, and they're just for material that we don't want to get wet or something. Really, there's not much toxic stuff going on. Like I
Is
said.
that
they just-
temporary or something you'll keep there after
No,
you're
it's,
done?
it's only for the construction time. It's
Okay,
only for construction.
all right.
So I'll make a motion to issue -3 RDA.
I'll second it, I see no issues with this project.
Motion made and seconded for a -3. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Let us know when you're ready to start work.
We'll let you know. The sooner the better.
Thank you. Okay. The next thing on our agenda is a request for a determination of applicability by the City of Lowell, the project location, 7 Chambers Street. A request has been filed for selective vegetation removal, tree removal, and other site work. And this site is within bordering land subject to flooding and the 100-foot riverfront and bank of the Hales Brook. Welcome.
Hi. Yes, this is a site, it's about an acre. It's a long skinny site owned by the city.
Could you identify yourself, please, before you begin
Sandy Swale,
for our public?
Sandy Swale, DPD, Planning Department.
I'm Giovanni Baez-Rose, design planner for DPD as well.
Thank you.
So it's a long skinny site. It's about 450 foot long. And we got a little bit of money to clear it. Well, right now, it's just forgotten. Nobody knows who owns it. It's full of weeds, dead trees, dead branches. You can't even, and it's bounded on one side by the brook. And you can't see the brook, actually. It's so overgrown. And so we got a little money, we want to clear it, because right now it's just a pile of weeds. It attracts a lot of dumping. It's right across the street from residents. And it encourages squatting from the neighborhood businesses. So we want to go in and clear it out, but we want to take out the weeds, the dead trees, the dead branches, and take out the bad trees. But it is right near the brook, so we want to know if there's any.
Okay, because of the steepness of that bank, you said you're taking out dead trees. Do you have a plan of which trees will be taken? And
No, as a matter of fact, we went down there to figure that out, and we had a hard time. There's so many weeds, you couldn't get to it. You literally can't. That's how overgrown it is.
certainly some new plantings would be good,
Yeah,
but you wouldn't want to
some new ones.
clear cut everything and
I'm
then,
not going to clear cut
and leave.
anything. As a matter of fact, we'll probably have to leave a lot of invasive things, and I don't even know if we can take out stumps or anything like that, because,
I wouldn't recommend taking out, take the stumps down to grade, but not take them out.
yeah. And almost everything is considered invasive, so we'd have to make a choice to keep some of the invasive, like the maples, we wouldn't even, which some people consider invasive, we wouldn't even touch them, like a full-grown maple, we wouldn't.
Well, certainly trash removal is going to be a big improvement out there.
Yeah.
Do you have in your plan limiting access by vehicles so that vehicles won't be parking there, or?
The thing is, it's a little bit used informally as parking. Some areas you couldn't park because the weeds are 2 stories high. But there are a couple of semi-cleared areas, and there is some parking on it.
I think at this point, we're trying to figure out how much we can afford to clear. And so we're gonna really focus this first part of this on just trying to, we had DPW come out, and it seems like there's actually a tree down and then weeds that have grown on top of that. And they didn't have the in-house equipment to do it. So our little bit of money, we're not sure how far it's gonna get us in this first phase. So we're really focused on trying to kind of plan on bidding this out to get as much of it cleaned out as we can. We have talked about different things, which include the possibility of adding some new trees along the street side, or adding some curbing at some point to limit some parking, but I don't know if we'll even get to that far at this point with the money that we have available right now.
Is there any way to get some volunteers out there, such as our Spindle City Corps or some of those groups?
I think probably after this initial cleanup, it would be safer and make more sense. We had staff go out there, and we're having a hard time getting really in it, which is when Sandy was saying we had a hard time even identifying what we could take down, what was actually dead, and what we would be physically able to access at this point.
I mean, there's weeds, but it's not just like weeds. It's 2 stories high. The weeds, it's a tangle of weeds.
Yeah, well, it's
I didn't know how they could start doing it.
It's a pretty little section of brook there.
It's beautiful. It's targeted as an open space.
But if you,
it's been targeted for 50 years, and there comes a time when you have to just forget this grand plan and just go in and do some.
if you can just keep the weeds down in the next season, not let them get that high, then you've got a chance to, keep it under control.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to ask you is like, if the tree's already down, you're allowed to take it out, right?
Fallen down trees?
Yeah, there's
Yes.
plenty
Yeah.
of, even this last storm.
I would say yes, unless they're somehow holding back a bank or something.
Yeah.
What about in the brook?
I saw a tree in the brook,
There's
and
a
I
lot of trees
thought,
in the
I
brook.
thought that was a good candidate to be taken out if possible.
Yeah, if possible. that's
If they're
the thing.
down.
Yeah,
We'd like to
already.
get them out.
it's
And
it's constricting things if the brook raises up any higher than it is at the moment.
yeah, so,
So the plan is really just to focus on getting a handle on a property that has been not cleaned up in quite a while, and to get this initial phase of cleaning kind of started.
Perhaps maybe the city crews could come through there and
Well-
mow every once in a while.
That's the hope. They can't yet.
they can't, they're overbooked, that's why we might have to go out there. We've looked into that. And they're just overbooked. They have to do a lot of big parks that.
So, do you have anything in writing as far as what you're proposing? Have you submitted something to,
I don't know.
More than the
for our
application,
files, so to speak, for our files?
more than we have on record that we filed for the RDA, not yet. Christine McCall was out there with us,
Okay,
and
well,
we've been
I
out
think
with.
we have a pretty good idea of it, it's a
Well, we
much
probably-
needed cleanup.
Yeah.
And in addition to cleanup, we'd, there'd be one section that would be sort of like grassy. We'd like to put some trees on the outside of that, because to keep cars from going in and making tracks in the grass, so we'd like to put some trees in, and we'd like to maybe put some signs and posters up, for Meadow Grove.
Perhaps you could designate that major area that's being parked on as a parking area for the moment,
Yeah,
and that would keep maybe cars out of the other areas.
yeah, that's exactly what we wanted to do. We know it's not great to have parking there, but I don't know, I suspect that it was given to them a long time ago, and it is the Back Bay, so.
Well, once you get it looking good, they perhaps won't want to park there.
Hopefully.
They'll enjoy the
Hopefully.
place
Hopefully
themselves.
people will
so.
recognize there's water back there and it actually can look really nice once it's cleaned up.
So,
Maybe phase two could be a bench or two, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we really, like Sandy said, we've got a lot of in-house plans for what this could look like in the future, but at this point, we really just need to get it cleaned up.
It's like, before you could build a new house, you gotta raise the old building,
Yeah.
right? Get it?
So we need a motion on this one.
So I'll offer, I see no issues with this project, and I'll make a motion to issue a -3 determination for this project.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded for a -3 determination. Is there any more discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Great, thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Sounds
I
good.
signed us in, so we're all set.
oh, you signed me?
Yep.
Okay, next on our agenda, we have an emergency certification that took place at 451 Brook Drive. There was a water main located by Unit 331 on Tulip Lane that needed repair. And this was in the 100-foot buffer to bordering vegetated wetlands of Black Brook. Is anyone here for this? I know the office, Christine went out, and the repair has been done. Jared, is that correct?
That's correct. The repair work is completed.
Okay, so what do you need from us for this emergency certification?
Have to ratify it?
Yeah, you can ratify the emergency certification.
I'll make a motion to ratify this emergency cert.
Motion made, seconded to ratify the emergency certification. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Under other business, we have an order of conditions extension request by Connector Park Equity Partners, DEP number 206-0767, property location 42 Wellman Street. This order of conditions was issued January 25th, 2017, to construct a 6-story residential building and parking garage, and the site is within the 100-foot buffer zone of bordering vegetated wetlands, and the applicant is requesting a 1-year extension to 2021 for the order of conditions. What's going on out there now?
How you doing? My name is Roy Smith. I work for R.J. O'Connell and Associates. It's good to be in front of the commission again. The construction is well underway. The building, I actually have Robert Simmons. He's the owner's representative for construction. The building is, I'd say, pretty much enclosed at this point, right? And watertight. So in order to stabilize and do the looming and seeding and final stabilization, it's a little bit late in the season, so we're thinking about doing that in the spring and fall of next year, having everything stabilized and then issuing our certificate of compliance request near the end of next year. And
Okay,
hence the reason for the
so-
extension on the order of conditions.
So site work mainly, not
Yeah.
not interior work.
Yeah, the building is enclosed, and now they're doing the interior fit-up and plumbing and electrical and so forth and so
What
on.
about the dog park?
The dog park has not been started as of yet. We're probably going to start that, I would assume, next spring. Yeah, next spring, I would assume.
Okay, so you have quite a bit of outdoor work to do.
Yes, yeah,
And you can't get it all done this fall,
no, not have it stabilized.
right?
Yep.
Any questions?
Like a no-brainer to me.
Motion?
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to extend the order of conditions another, do you want 3 years? Usually the extensions are 3.
Yeah, we'll take 3 years, and if we come in before for the certificate of compliance, great,
Right? Is
you
it,
know.
He's asking for one, but
do you only need one?
It expires in January.
Yeah, 2020.
3 is customary, that's fine.
Yeah, 3's customary.
Yeah,
The
well,
other thing is too, is it'll give you the
Just
time to
in
make
case.
sure that the vegetation's established and not having to do anything.
yeah, and then extend it again,
And
yeah.
all that.
That's
Yeah.
probably a good idea.
Yeah. So
Let's
I'll
do
make-
3 years.
I mean, the way I look at it is, when you think you're ready to ask for the certificate of compliance, if it's less than 3 years, you're gonna come to us before that, right?
Right.
Yeah, to close the loop, so, yeah. So I'll make a motion to extend an additional 3 years to January 2023.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion made and seconded to extend the order to January 2023.
Good job with being ahead of schedule.
Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you.
Thanks.
Good luck.
Have a good night.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, too.
Next, we have a minor modification to an order of conditions by Commons Wealth LLC, DEP number 206-780, property location 1857.1 Middlesex Street. This is the Collegiate Charter School. Order of conditions was issued in May 2018 this was an additional order for expanding the building. We had some compensation area that it's within the 100-foot buffer zone of a bordering vegetated wetland associated with the Merrimack River and isolated land subject to flooding. So this is a request for a modification, revised parking layout, a slope instead of retaining wall, and this changes your compensation plan. Welcome.
Welcome. Good evening. For the record, Brian Goodrow with Hancock Associates. So I want to keep this brief. We've been before the commission several times over the years. So we started in 2013. It was a very long and arduous permitting process. And then, unfortunately, that specific applicant didn't move forward. And then we were before you in 2015 with a little bit of a retooling on the plan, and that was specific to a Phase 1 charter school, which is K through 8, which is currently occupied right now. And then we went back before the city for Phase 2, which is the remaining 9 through 12. So we're before you today with a minor modification that's exclusive to a retaining wall. Essentially, on the entrance driveway, as you head in, there was proposed to be an expansion of the parking area by about 16 spaces. And that expansion went into an isolated land subject to flooding. So as a part of our previous filing, we designed a retaining wall with compensatory storage using 24-inch ADS pipe underneath the parking area so that we could establish unrestricted flow and replace the volume, essentially, of that parking area. Now, they're getting ready to build it, and it came to kind of a construction issue where they couldn't really figure out a cost-effective way to put a retaining wall and the pipe penetration through it. We had designed it as a cast-in-place. They kind of wanted to use gravity block wall. Doesn't really work with a round pipe and square blocks. So we're here before you to replace that retaining wall with a 2-to-1 slope. So we're not changing the parking area, we're not changing drainage, we're exclusively removing the retaining wall, establishing a 2-to-1 slope, and the way that we're going to stabilize that is with filter fabric and riprap. And then we expanded the compensatory storage for the additional kind of disturbed area within the ILSF. Also, as a part of that, there is an isolated vegetated wetland kind of in the center of the site, if you will, big depression. Basically, all the surrounding properties shed stormwater into that area, and it became an isolated vegetated wetland, and consequently an isolated land subject to flooding at the same time. So by shifting from a retaining wall to a 2-to-1 slope, we created a little bit more disturbance, and what we've done is provided a greater than 2-to-1 ratio of replication. Previously, we had a couple hundred square feet. Now we have about 350 additional square feet. So the whole area that's outside of the parking is slated to be seeded with wetland seed mix. So what we're really doing is we're formalizing an expanded replication area, and then additionally, all the other disturbed areas in that ILSF, in the compensatory storage, are also going to be seeded with the wetland mix. With that said, I think it's pretty straightforward, but I'm certainly happy to answer any questions.
So is this an area that is stabilized now, and then you're kind of disturbing it all over again?
Not really, because we never certified the original grading within the ILSF to the degree that we had to. There was about 1,500 cubic feet of regrading activity that had to happen. We took a look at it. Some additional work had to be done, and will be done as a part of this regrading activity. So it was never certified and signed off.
So where is your additional compensation going to be going?
The same place it was proposed previously. Basically, we had 10-foot
Along
length.
the edge of the isolated wetland?
So right under this parking area,
Oh, okay.
we had, I think it was 30 to 36 pipes going underneath the parking area. Now that we have a 2-to-1 slope, we basically just extended the pipes that were proposed previously. So instead of 10 feet, they're 20 feet.
And you're removing impervious area by not doing the wall.
And we're eliminating a slight impervious area. Yes, ma'am.
Did you mention riprap?
So the slope is 2-to-1. In lieu of vegetation, which can be tough to stabilize on a 2-to-1 slope, we're proposing geotextile and riprap.
Questions, anyone? Seems like a fairly minor change.
I'm sure you guys are hoping that that's the last final change you have to do for this project.
Hoping. It's been a few years.
Do you, just curious, the second time when you guys came back, didn't you permit like the high school?
We did.
And is that in occupancy yet, or?
It is not. It's currently being fit up. It's actually being shelled up right now. So we're not quite at that stage. So a number of improvements under that Phase 2 plan have been done, but there's quite a bit of work left to do. The entire parking lot by the high school has not been completed yet. They're still working on the building, as I said. This small parking area has been completed, and they would like to start working on kind of this parking area so that people can park there. Parking's challenging.
And the goal is to have the high school going for next spring, or next fall?
So it's phased in per the charter and the special permit. So I believe they're up to 9th grade. So next year will be 10th, then 11th.
Oh,
then 12th.
cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Growing. Okay, so this is a modification, so I believe it's not an amendment. How is that going to be working, Jared? Are we going to have to?
You could take a motion, just if you so
Accept
choose, to say that you agree that it's a minor modification.
So I'll make a motion to accept this minor modification.
And I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded to accept the minor modification regarding the wall, and elimination of the wall and adding of a 2-to-1 slope. Any discussion?
Nope.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
Thanks.
Okay, we've already taken the 172 18th Street out of order, so we'll move on past that. We have another outstanding enforcement order to Jillian and Jose Silva, 24 Bigelow Street. This has been on our agenda for a number of meetings. I think I saw it on is it the zoning agenda this week?
That's correct. It will be on the zoning board agenda for next Monday's meeting, October 28th.
Okay, so I think we probably would wait until we see what the outcome of that is before we take any, thank you. Good night. Before we take any further action on this, we had already discussed that perhaps this was not a threat to the wetland, what has happened out here. But we'd like to know if the garage is going to be allowed to stay and things like that. So I think putting this on our next agenda would probably be a good idea. Does anyone else have any comments about it? Okay, so we'll take that up at our next meeting. We'll move on now to the minutes. We had 2 sets of minutes for the month of September. Rather lengthy meeting, at least one of them. Any motion on the minutes?
I unfortunately haven't had a chance to look at them,
Oh.
so
Shall we?
can we table it till the next meeting?
Okay. They were rather lengthy. I did read through them, so no problem, but.
And if I'd brought them with me tonight, I would have read them on the train ride home.
Okay, we'll put those minutes on the next agenda. And now we had something that we saved from the last agenda, and that's the 2020 meeting schedule. It looks like we have 2 choices here. Are these the same? No.
There are 2 choices. It matches the style of the planning board, where they only have 1 meeting in July and August. That would be different from what we do currently, where there are 2 scheduled meetings in both of those months. But we wanted to provide that opportunity for you if you wanted to go that route.
Okay. I think I expressed at the last meeting that I thought our schedule was a little busier normally in summer, and perhaps we needed the extra meetings, and there was opposing opinions on that. So I guess we're here tonight to sort it all out.
I can see it both ways. My preference would be to be consistent with the other boards and just have the 1 meetings in the summer. And just with that, I mean, anyone that has a planned project would just plan around those dates.
Well, particularly enforcement orders are a little difficult if you're only meeting once a month. And perhaps we can all block off those dates and not plan our vacations during those
No,
dates.
I have a
if we're
beach
only gonna
house for July and August, so I would vote that we don't do those meetings. The other thing is, I do feel like there was a pattern where we weren't making quorum, and it was kind of being held against us with the applicants, and I don't think that's fair, because I think, again, this is a volunteer position. So in the fact that it seems like over the years, we've actually had difficulty making quorum over the summer, I would vote that we, again, also match what the other boards are doing, because if it's good enough for them, I think it's
Okay.
good enough for me, yeah.
Brad, we have a chance to deadlock the decision.
Let's do the big table. You don't, the kid table doesn't get a vote?
Well, does anyone have a motion? Or do we want to wait until we have 2 more commissioners?
No, we waited last time. We're never gonna have all the commissioners, yeah. I know Christine wants to probably,
Yeah, I'll make a motion to go with the schedule that's consistent with the other boards, which means 1 less meeting in July and August.
Okay, motion made. Is there a second?
I'm gonna second that. I'm gonna promise that I will be at that July and August meeting, Commissioner Varnum. Chair
Okay.
Varnum.
Okay, all right. All right, I want everyone to go home and mark their calendars for
Yep.
2020. Very important
Duly noted.
dates.
Yes.
All right, let's have a vote on that. All those in favor of the motion to hold 1 meeting in July and 1 in August, as the other boards do?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
You can say nay.
No.
You could say
Do
present.
whatever you want,
You
yeah.
can do a Congress that's present.
Yeah, you're the
Well,
chair. yeah.
No, as long as we're gonna all mark our calendars, I'll
Will
be
do.
happy.
Jared, just take it easy on the enforcement orders in the summer, all right? No, just
All right. Any new business, Jared, or anything? Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn, seconded by? Brad? All those in favor?
Aye.
Good night.
Good night.
woke up this morning early,